So we're going to talk about what we wish we would have known. When you have a blended family and there are people that you don't really have relationships with, that have history with the people that you do have relationship with, there are times when you just cannot go back and change history.
I wish I would have known that it was okay to ask for help. I think that being a single mom for so long and coming in with such independence, that alone is something I wish I would have known, is that my priorities were gonna have to shift big time.
Those are things that I wish I would have known, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because I don't know if I'd have done it. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people would be honest and say, if I really knew what I was going to experience, I probably wouldn't have signed up for it.
Your blended family has a 100% chance of success when you do it God's way. We're Blended Kingdom Families, and we want to provide biblical resources to heal and restore families with a message of hope for the next generation.
Hey guys, welcome back to the BKF podcast. We're going to do something a little fun today and talk through what we wish we would have known
Before blending our family.
Yes. And that's a big question. Before we do that, if you're new to us, please take an opportunity, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Audible, just know that the full video format and my bald head and her beautiful face are on our YouTube channel. You can go and check us out. 11 years married.
Yes.
We have 4 boys. One, our blended, my stepson is now an adult who's out of the house. We have 3 youngers, 8, 9, 10, just kind of catching the audience up on who we are. You were married just for a brief second before, and then a single mom for
about 5 years.
5 years. I was a professional bachelor, 36 years single when we met and got married.
Yes, and you had a dog.
And I had a dog named Sam who we lost a couple of years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, sad. But we have learned a lot, not only through our own personal journey in marriage and blended family, but through our coaching network and through being counselors. We've learned a whole lot. So we're going to talk about what we wish we would have known.
And I think this isn't just us. I think it's a lot of, from hearing so many different people's perspective and experiences, just some of the things that they didn't know they were going to encounter when it came to being in a blended family. And so, Scott, we'll start with you. What is one of the things that you wish you would have known?
These are such big questions. Can you narrow it down to like a topic inside?
Let's go with what you wish you would have known marrying someone with kids.
Okay. I don't know the plural side of this because you just had one kid.
I just had one. Kids.
I will say this. I did not know, and we've said this 1,000 times, did not know what I needed to know. And then I will say on the backside, what I needed to know, I haven't yet figured out yet. So it's a complete evolution of dealing with a lot of different people and personalities. And in the same breath, me trying to stay hyper-focused on what I can actually do versus what I cannot control.
That's good.
And I think that has been one of the hardest things to deal with because, the way I'm wired, the way I am, there's certain things or certain ways I would do things or what I would suggest other people do. But I don't have their life and I don't make their decisions and I don't have their view of the world. So it's really difficult for me to kind of resolve myself to saying, I can't do anything about this, so I just need to accept it. And I wish I would have known that because there are times in our blended family where it's been very, I've got a lot of anxiety and a lot of anger towards things that are going on because I wish that I could do something about it. But when you have a blended family and there are people that you don't really have relationships with, that have history with the people that you do have relationship with, there are times when you just cannot go back and change history. I can't change the way people viewed things. I can't change the way they view people or my spouse. And I think those are things that I wish I would have known. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I didn't know because I don't know if I'd have done it. I think a lot of people would be honest and say, if I really knew what I was going to experience, I probably wouldn't have signed up for it. now that I get to experience the joys of all of it, I'm glad that I did. I'm so glad that I continue to, and I'm glad that I get to continue to be uncomfortable because the good side is 10,000 times better than what I can't control.
No,
So
that's really good.
that's what
Well, and I think so many people listening and watching resonate with that, because there's so many people that do come into blended families, whether it's male or female, and they are like you, bachelor, bachelorette, and they do not have children, but they come into a relationship with somebody who does, and they're experiencing that journey for the first time and becoming a parent, so to speak, for the first time, and having to deal with somebody who's been married before and has a former spouse, and all the nuances and things that come along with that, and what does life look like together moving forward. And so I think that really speaks to a large part of our audience, in that it's okay if you don't have all the answers, and maybe you're in that season now, and maybe this is something that you can, put in your pocket and take with you. But it's okay if you don't have all the answers. But there are resources and tools and people out there who have walked this journey, and who that can help you in your blended family journey.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I got one for you. I got to give you a time frame and situation, though.
What?
So listen, be open. Blended family, first 2 years, and you're also having a baby and raising, we had 2 babies in 2 years. So I want to just kind of go back.
3 babies in 3
I understand, but I'm just going 2 because I don't want to overwhelm you. So I want to go back to what you wish you would have known about those first few years in building a new family and also being a blended family.
I think what I would wish I would have known is that, I wish I would have known that it was okay to ask for help. I think that being a single mom for so long and coming in with such independence, that alone is something I wish I would have known, is that my priorities were going to have to shift big time. When you are the controller of everything, and then you have to partner with somebody, that's hard. It's hard to relinquish that. And so then whenever it's the 3 of you for a little bit, you, me, and our oldest son, and then we're bringing another child in, and then another, coming to the realization that I was also in school. I was in nursing school at the same time, and I could not do it alone. Our business was taking off, and you were doing that. So there was a lot of reliance on my mom coming in to help. And
thank you, Mimi.
And just really putting down that pride and just being open to receiving that grace and receiving that help, and not feeling like I had to be that independent woman that I was for so long, and getting it all done and pushing through, and I can do this. Because the truth is that, doing nursing school full time, while having those 2 kids, 3, but it was really difficult, and building our blended family, navigating co-parenting, navigating the transition times, it was a lot to take on. And so reaching out for help, getting godly counsel, but also relying on family and friends to come and help when I needed help.
Yeah. No, I remember those. Though it seems like a blur, but there was so much going on. And just when we thought we had it under control,
I was
boom,
pregnant
again. I'm like,
and again.
What is going on? By the way, none of our kids were planned. They were all like, whoa, what? I mean, they were planned by God, but not planned by us. So I literally was shocked every time she got pregnant. And it was all just a blur of no sleep.
No sleep.
Yeah, no sleep and just running.
Yeah. And so I think what I wish I would have known is, 1, have grace for yourself. So if you're in that season right now, give yourself some grace, and understand that there are people out there who will be willing to come watch your kids for a couple of hours so you can take a nap, or go to the grocery store alone, or even male or female, whatever that looks like. I just want to encourage you, do not be afraid to reach out, ask for help, whether that's friends or family. Seek out counsel, seek out resources that can help you during this transition time of bringing on children. They're all biological for the mom, but for your ours children and for any children that you've had previously, and understand that it's going to take time and it's going to take patience. and
No, I
grace
love
for
that.
one another.
I love it. I know a lot of people are in that situation, so that's why I asked the question.
Well, and I would say to that too, like you may have some feelings about that.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to the kids and, you know, bonus parents, like how that's going to make them feel. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. And so.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Scott, what do you wish you would have known about being a stepdad prior to blending?
That's a great question, and I don't know what I wish I would have known. Again, I kind of go back to it. That's a tough road that's got hills and valleys. I will say, I wish I would have known that it was going to come natural in some ways. I was going to naturally just fit into that. In other ways, you have to know that your time is could be, you know, more or less, I wouldn't say limited, but I would say it's for a destined amount of time. And then you have to, I think this is more, I think the question, let me clarify the question. I think there's a very big difference between being a stepdad to a boy and a stepdad to a girl. I think there's just a notable, huge difference. And so I think you just have to be cognizant of that you've been assigned a role, and your role has a title, and it has also doesn't have a title, meaning you're not dad, you are stepdad, and you need to accept that role and whatever that means. And then understand that it can be really good and it can be really bad, and understand that you can be pulled in different directions. I will say this, and this is the thing that I wish I knew then, I want to know now, and I continue to tell myself today, is that I know that God designed me for it. And that even though it's extraordinarily uncomfortable in certain seasons, that God has prepared me for it.
Yeah.
And so I have to be accepting of that I am equipped and I am prepared. I may not know what to do, but God knows what he's doing. And I need to be accepting of that, and accepting and trusting that he knows what that plan is. Because if it was on me, not only I couldn't do it, I don't know that I would do it.
Yeah.
Because my selfish nature doesn't lend itself that way. And I know people, stepdads, you're listening to me going, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I have to just accept the fact that God has prepared me for that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good some days and bad others, and challenging and highly rewarding.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what I wish I knew.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, as you were talking, there's something that I wish we would have known. And I think it's a lot, this is for a lot of blended families. It's kind of two-part, but I think is that what I wish I would have known before blending a family is that your family may never blend. And that's a hard reality. It's a reality that, you know, depending on the age in which you and your spouse get married, and we see this a lot with adult children, is that for some reason the adult children never accept the marriage, and you know, that happens, and it's that there's never really a bonding and blending process, so to speak, or that it doesn't happen, and we've seen how difficult that can be. And even ourselves, we've experienced it in different seasons. And I think what comes along with that is the feeling of rejection when you've done absolutely, like, you have no history with this person. And they are rejecting you simply because they don't like the idea of it, or that, you know, there is an alliance with a biological parent. And so I'm sure that there are some of you watching, listening to this, and you're like, man, that is where we are at. I've been in this 10 years and we are still not getting along. It feels hopeless. I think to that, what I would want to say is, if you're in that season, like, what can you do? You can still choose to show up every day. The joy of the Lord it's ours. He is our joy. He is our peace. That's what the book of Micah tells us. And that we can wake up every day with the choice to continue to love our spouse despite what is going on in our blended family, despite if our bonus children accept us or don't accept us. We continue to seek the Lord and to love our spouse. we make that a choice daily. And I don't know, if you're in that season right now, I empathize with you and just want to encourage you that if you're needing prayer or anything, please reach out to the ministry, because we know that there are so many people that suffer with that.
I see it every day. And my only advice on what I wish I would have known is that if your joy is dependent upon somebody else's reaction, you're going to find that in blending families, and I love what you said, is sometimes it may not blend, but I also would like to point out, blending families is a world type of definition. God's choice of who you are and who you love, and the action, the agape love that he defines, that is how we can find joy. When we put it in the man-made concepts, that's where you're going to find sometimes rejection, disappointment, unmet expectations. Your joy in how you treat people and the way you view people is your choice, and the way God gives you that choice. And you can find immense joy in that.
Yeah.
And immense joy even in rejection, to say, I still choose to be who I am. And I'm still choosing to believe that God wants what's best for me, and he wants what's best for them. And I'm choosing to honor the covenant marriage that I'm in, regardless of the way other people act. Because God gave us the definition of love, and it had nothing to do with the fact of it being reciprocated. So we can choose that. So those are some deep topics.
Those were some good ones.
Good ones. Okay.
I'm interested to hear what the audience would say, like what they wish they would have known. So if that's you, comment below. We want to hear. Like what you wish you would have known.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
All right. So I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
What do you wish you would have known about me being married to a bald man?
A bald man. I knew you were going to say that.
Because I want to give a shout out to all the bald men out there who are follically challenged, who have been designed by God to have a beautiful bald head. And it takes a little bit of getting used to.
Well, it takes some intentionality. I wish I would have known that I was going to need sunscreen on hand or a toboggan or a hat, because
my little head is tender.
Well, yes. And in football season, y'all, Scott will get out there with a baseball cap on, and then
it gives me the tan line.
A tan line of a circle from the back. And I'm like, babe, you need, we've got to wear the full brim, hat and but sunscreen. But I love your bald head, and let it be known that I never, ever, bald men were not on my radar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Scott is the first and the only and the last.
Wow.
And yeah.
I'm just taking a minute for that to waft in, because I would have thought you were searching for a bald man. No, let me get back to the question. What do you wish you would have known about being married to me?
Oh, gosh. I think that when you're in that dating phase, and when, especially when you get engaged, there is just so much excitement. And I think when you're a person that is getting remarried, that you do have these built up expectations of it's going to be better than it was the first time. And this person is absolutely amazing. And they are not like my former spouse. You have all these things. And then when you get into it, you're like, wow, they really have their own junk or things that they need to work through. Wow, I didn't know that about them. That doesn't sit well with me. And you really think you know someone before marriage. And I think depending upon, how long you date and all of those things, but you will find out more about your spouse, in those first few years. And we continue to. But yeah, I think that I wish I would have known that there was going to be more about you, that there were going to be things that we had to, the things that I knew about you that were going to be hard truths, but also beautiful truths. And that it was going to be a process for us to go through those things together. I
think it's hilarious. You just said that you think you know a person when you're dating. Let me explain to you. You don't. You don't. Dating is not reality. It's not anywhere close to it. I can assure you, if you asked me the same question, what I wish I knew about being married to you, I would say that the dating was not the marriage. It was going to be very, very different. I will say, in 11 years, we have changed dramatically. Over time.
And this is a good thing, you guys. Like, I think a lot of times couples get stuck on, you're just not the way that you were. You guys, like, to grow and mature in Christ is such a phenomenal, that in itself is a miracle. And I understand that, like, some of us in our marriages, like, we may not be growing with Christ and we're growing like in flesh or in pride or in things like that. But understand that as your spouse is seeking the Lord and you're seeking the Lord, and if you are doing it God's way, like this is such a beautiful thing. And the things that you once enjoyed or loved that your spouse loved about you that maybe you don't anymore, and your spouse is like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, why all of a sudden the change? That's where communication and things like that come into play. But I think taking it from the perspective of like, okay, they're walking with the Lord, and this is a beautiful thing. Like, this is the Lord revealing something about them they didn't know about themselves, and now that I am seeing about them. And even if you don't appreciate it in the moment, asking God to give you that joy or appreciation about it, and to ask the Lord, show me something about my spouse that I don't know or that I haven't seen about them.
Yeah. And sometimes you just change because you like different things. And, like you've gotten this kick now where you're like into this all organic eating thing. Like, and I'm just not down with that. So I'm having to adjust and sneak some good snacks in every now and then. But I love that, and Vanessa's gone from like, I married her, she had jet black hair.
Yeah.
You've had blonde hair.
Yeah.
Now you have brown hair. I have no hair. But we have changed dramatically over the years. And I think that is one of the things. I love this idea of what you wish you knew. And I want to reiterate to the audience, if you're listening to this, write down in the comments what you wish you would have known, and be as specific or as general as you want to be. Would love to come back to this podcast and read some of those responses. And kind of go into that.
We need to put it on our social media because that would be great to see some responses.
Yeah, because I bet that's crazy. Because dating is different than marriage. And we got married and we're different now. But we're going to be different later.
Yes.
We talked about this last night. We were going to be like, we were sitting around and our kids, Vanessa said, gosh, the couch is dirty again. And I was like, well, they're about to, 10 more years, it's just going to be like you and me. And I'm the one who's going to be annoying you. Because I think that's where we're going to be. I'm going to be hanging around the house and
in our naked room.
Naked room. The whole house would be the naked room.
The whole house would be the naked room.
I feel sorry for the neighbors because there's windows and I don't care. I literally don't care. The whole naked house. Anyway, we're going to change, and that's going to be okay because commitment doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so I think that you should have some fun through this process.
Yeah. But you guys, we hope that you've enjoyed, us talking about like what I wish we would have known. Again, think about that to yourself. Talk about that with your spouse. Make this a open conversation of, man, I wish we would have known this, but like, where did you see God in those moments? Like, looking back now, how have you seen God work through those things and those situations and the things that you wish you would have known and that you've learned and that He's taught you, and how that has strengthened you and grown you in your marriage and blended family.
Yeah, love that. Guys, thanks so much. We will see you again next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Be blessed in all that you do.
Hey friends, so glad you were here with us today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can find more resources from Blended Kingdom Families at blendedkingdomfamilies.com. Join us again next time as we talk about more blended family topics. Be blessed in all that you do, and remember, nothing will be impossible with God.